Okay, folks, we're going to get started here in just a sec, so if we can take our seats. All right, everybody's ready? Council members, we're all set? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. This is Wednesday, March 1st, 2023, and it is 6:01. And Madam Clerk, if you wouldn't mind, please calling roll.
Councilmember Dinas.
Here.
Councilmember Estrada.
Here.
Councilmember Sobek.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carwin.
Here.
And Mayor Zimmerman.
I'm here. Thank you. We're on item 3. This is Words of Inspiration, and I did see that we have Heather Gray here. She is the Women's Relief Society president at the La Piedra Ward for the Menifee Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Heather, if you want to come to the podium, we appreciate you taking some time tonight for some words of inspiration to get us started.
Our Heavenly Father, we come before Thee this day and give thanks for the many blessings that we have here in this beautiful community of Menifee. We are grateful for the local leaders that sit here in these councils and work so diligently in making decisions for our community. We are grateful for our president and for those that serve with him, and pray that they may be guided in wisdom to make the decisions that would benefit those of our country and help us to maintain the freedoms that we have here. We are grateful for these freedoms. We are especially grateful for those that have allowed us these freedoms and for those that continue to serve and protect us and guide us in our armed forces. We would ask that Thou might please watch over and protect the victims of the natural disasters that have recently taken place, and especially those in Turkey with the earthquake that has been there. Please bring them comfort and help them to receive the aid that they need. We ask Thee to please bless those that are victims of political unrest and war at this time, and we pray that the hearts might be softened of those who seek to do harm to others. Please be with the members of us here in this Menifee community, that we may be able to work together in peace and unity and continuing to bring about great progress here and seeing things that we can work together on to improve here in this wonderful community. We give thanks for all that we do have and ask for the guidance here that we may be able to work together. And we say these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. We thank you for those words of inspiration. Appreciate you and Michael for being here tonight. All right. We are on our Pledge of Allegiance, item 4, and we always call on the front row people. So, Kathy, if you don't mind maybe leading us in the flag salute. Thank you. It's always a yes, you may. All right, we're going to move on our agenda now. I see that there are no presentation items tonight, so we'll move to item 6. This is agenda approval or modifications. Madam Clerk, do we have any modifications to the agenda tonight?
There are none.
All right, thank you. Council members, all in favor of approval of our agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved unanimously. We're now on item 7. This is public comments for non-agenda items. This is the time for members of the public to address the council about items that are not listed on the agenda. The Brown Act limits the council's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters at the time those are made. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes on a single item. Madam Clerk, has anyone submitted a speaker slip for non-agenda matters?
Yes, one, Mayor. It's Jose Marin.
All right, Mr. Marin, thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. Is this working? Okay, good. My name is Jose Marin. I live in Menifee. I can't say how proud I am to live in this town and call it home and be raising my children here. It's a pleasure to see all of you and all the wonderful staff here tonight. I want to say thank you for the Menifee Citizens Academy. You guys have put together this program for regular people like myself to be able to come and learn and hopefully, contribute to what's happening here and all the great things that are happening. I wanted just to share some things. We all know we're getting a lot of rain this year. Obviously, even snow today. I happen to live in an area where I just learned recently it's a dirt road that's not maintained by the city. I'm not here to cry about it. I'm just here to deal with it. I understand it's no problem. I also just learned we have almost 100 miles of dirt roads in this town that Menifee Incorporated. They inherited all those dirt roads from Riverside County, and I share a little bit of, I'm not going to call it frustration, just concern with some of these conditions of these dirt roads. I happen to take some time to improve my dirt road. I bring in grindings whenever they're available, whenever there's anything going on that I may be able to get them for free. I borrow tractors just to be able to make sure I don't drop my coffee between my legs every morning, and just to be able to have police cars drive through the dirt road and not maybe go around it because it's just a bad road, or even ambulances, things like that. Sometimes I live on the east side of the freeway, and sometimes when there's accidents on the parallel road, I forgot the name, Antelope Road. People get shut down over on the other side, and sometimes we get a lot of traffic. Not very often. I know that there's a lot of things that the city is working on and trying to improve I wish more people would show up and learn all these things, right? And I hope that they go home and on the internet and maybe listen to these tapes because you guys record everything. But I would like to perhaps put it out there, maybe, forward thinking. I know everything doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen next month or next year. Some of the stuff you guys are approving tonight, these are things that have been happening for years now, but maybe creating some type of program or a process where, landowners can chip into some of these costs that are associated with improving everything around town. I don't mind paying more taxes. And just so you know, when you pull the permit and you live on a dirt road that's not maintained, you don't get a break for permits. It's still the same, So perhaps we all could maybe have a discussion and hopefully find a way where 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're tackling these issues because, the city's only growing. More people are coming here.
The 3 minutes has expired.
Oh, sorry. One more last thing. I want to say thank you to the new Public Works Maintenance Supervisor, Mike Smith. I believe that's his name. Thanks for coming over and calling me, and I look forward to perhaps helping everybody out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Marin. All right, next speaker.
All.
Oh, that's all. All right, very good. We'll go ahead and move on now. This is council member updates and comments. I'll start on my right, which is Councilman Dinas.
Thank you. On the 16th, most of us had the pleasure of attending the brokers' luncheon. Then the mayor and I, right after that, went to the Menifee Winchester Ad Hoc Committee meeting. We met with the county supervisor as well as the Winchester MAC group. Then after that, we attended the Coldwell Bankers grand opening. And then to end the day off just right, we went to the PD's promotion ceremony, which it was really nice to see that and enjoy watching our homegrown police officers get promoted. That was pretty good. Then on the 22nd, the Menifee Winchester Ad Hoc Committee then met with county staff to work out the ability to do some better communication and things like that. On the 23rd, or the 22nd actually, at that time I went to the Transportation Now meeting, which was the regional committee for RTA. 23rd, I did the RTA board meeting. And on the 25th, I didn't do the groundbreaking, but I did get out to see the Mott Museum and say hi to the folks out there and enjoy all those old cars. It was pretty interesting. And then I ended that day with going out to the Bel Air Mobile Home Estates and met with the homeowners there. So and it was enjoyable. So that's all I have to report.
All right, very good report. Thank you. Councilman Estrada.
Hey, good evening, everybody. On the 16th, I went to the PD promotion ceremony with the mayor and Councilman Dynas, and it was great to see our PD accelerate and congratulate them in person, in the flesh, for their hard work. I also met with the Police Officers Association, got to know the needs and wants of our police department, and I had a productive conversation with them as well. On the 21st, I went to the Wilderness RV ribbon cutting, and if any of you guys didn't know, you can fish for catfish here in Menifee. So I'm gonna be there. Other than that, that's all I got.
All right, very good. Councilmember Sobek?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report out. I have some slide presentations that I'd like to share. If I can start off. Thank you. As it was mentioned by Councilmember Estrada, I also attended Thousand Trails Wilderness Lakes Resorts ribbon cutting for their brand new RV cover storage facility that will provide, that has solar roofs for this and will provide 50% of their power for this facility. This facility was built back in 1971, and they have expanded their stay there. You can actually rent little cabins and enjoy some tent camping. And then the other night, I was actually studying and reading my agenda packet, and I had the news on, and all of a sudden, there's Wilderness Lakes in the ribbon cutting, and our pictures were on Channel 7 News the other night. So that was pretty interesting to see that. I attended the Southwest Women's Elected Leaders that we have been having every other month, and our keynote speaker this time happened to be, did I write her name down? Oh yes, Darcy Burke. She is President and Chief Executive Officer of Watermark Associates, and it was very interesting to learn about what's going on with the water, how much water is going out into the ocean, how much is being approved to actually come down here. I believe I might ask for this as a future agenda item for our city council, because I believe it would be great information for us to have and be aware of about the water in our area. So that was good. I attended the Soul Fest 2023 festival that was this last weekend at the View Church here in Menifee, and they just were celebrating Black History Month and invited us to attend. So that was a great event. I also, coming up for anyone who is just interested in the You Matter workshops, this is something that our community services department has started having programs, especially after coming out of the pandemic, how many people are experiencing just anxiety, depression, etc. They have a couple workshops coming up, one here in March, and I just wanted to share that information as something coming up. They're doing a great job and providing great resources. If anyone is listening to this and they have questions about anything on how to help their children, their family, if they're a senior citizen, there is a You Matter website at the City of Menifee that provides all kinds of resources where people can reach out. I attended the AB 1234 ethics training with the City of Menifee, and I've attended the Valley-wide ad hoc committee along with several meetings with many residents over the last couple weeks. That's all I have to report out.
All right, great report. Mayor Pro Tem Carwin.
Thank you very much. Busy couple of weeks here. I did also attend the Brokers Appreciation Luncheon Awards with the mayor and Councilmember Dynas. I was also at the Wilderness Lakes RV ribbon cutting, which was, I love that place. I went to the Chamber of Commerce mixer at the Pacific Senior Living Facility. Mayor was there for that. The next day, had the honor to attend at Pacifica the chili cook-off that they do every year, which was won by the mayor.
It was rigged.
In a blind vote. I attended the WRCOG new member information session. It's a training where we learn what all of the different programs they have there are, and all the vendors that they work with. That was very helpful, which is why I've had safe routes to schools on the brain for the last week and a half. That's why I keep mentioning it, because it was brought up there. I think most of us were at the AB 1234 ethics training session. The mayor and I had an opportunity to meet with Congressman Ken Calvert and his staff here to exchange needs and ideas. He told us what was going on in Washington, D.C., things that I wish I hadn't heard about national security. And we get to tell him things that's going on here and thank him very much for helping us out get some of the projects done around here, like the Scott Road widening and the Bradley Bridge that's coming in. I had the opportunity to sub in for our mayor at the City Selection Committee. It's a very specific executive board where they appoint people to all the different various, like LAFCO and the airport district and things like that. The only thing I want to report out of there is Norco's mayor, Ted Hoffman, passed away, and he was the alternate to LAFCO. So council member from Norco, Greg Newton, was appointed in his place, and there's going to be a memorial service for Ted Hoffman coming up. And that's all I've got to report.
That's a great report. Thank you. I'm going to try to be quick. This is since our last meeting on February 15th. On February 16th, Thursday, there was a Neighbors Monthly Business Mixer in Wildemar that I attended. Also joined my colleagues at the Brokers Luncheon. The Sphere of Influence Committee, Councilman Dinas is on that with me. We did meet with the city manager and with Supervisor Washington and his staff to discuss some of the Winchester community representatives were there as well. And it was a good conversation just to kind of help make sure everybody understands each other on that. There was a chamber mixer and we celebrated Coldwell Bankers' new office space that they have. It's very nice, so congratulations to them. And then our PD promotion ceremony with council members, that was great. On Tuesday the 21st, myself and the mayor for City of Fontana, her name's Aquanetta Warren, we were guest panelists on the BIA's forum, and it was regarding residential development and opportunities to share about our staff's innovative services and approach and method and some of the things that we're doing so that other cities can see how awesome Menifee is and Ms. Kitzrow's team, and then maybe they can copy from off of our paper. All right, on Wednesday the 22nd, there was a Sphere of Influence Committee. We also met a second time. It was with Supervisor and with Juan Perez from the county. And then the chamber mixer was at the Pacifica Senior Living and was well attended. On Thursday the 23rd, there was a homeless workshop. It was a regional workshop. It was held over at French Valley Library, hosted by District 3, and Dr. Chang from the county's behavioral health was the speaker and gave updates there. On Friday the 24th, as mentioned by the Mayor Pro Tem, we had Congressman Calvert here. It was just a great opportunity to bring his staff together with ours. And then on Friday evening, the city hosted an art affair over at Case Inacero Center, hosted by the Community Services Group, and the theme was celebrating Black History Month, and there were some great artists there. They came from Riverside and lots of different places, and so congratulations to all of those great artists who came, and well done to our Community Services team. This is just a great opportunity to share some recognition for some great artists and those who've made accomplishments over the years. All right, and then Saturday the 25th, as Councilman Dinas mentioned, the Mott family held their 10th anniversary celebration. So I was there along with our chamber to give a proclamation, and then it was a nice open house event, and even Elvis was there. It was very interesting. And on Monday, the 27th, I attended the Western Riverside County Projects and Programs Committee, which is a subsidiary to RCTC. And then later that night, I attended the Partners in Education mixer hosted by Menifee Union School District across the way. And it's a good chance for all of our local businesses to connect with our principals and all of the administration staff over there. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything else they want to add? Sounds like we're there. Let's move on. We are on item 9 now, approval of the minutes. I was told that there was a mistake on the February 1st minutes where Michael Cano was mentioned as a planning commissioner. I think that should have been Measure DD, Quality of Life Commissioner. And so we'll make that change. Do we have any other changes? Can we approve that as modified? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that's approved unanimously, and we're on our Item 10, now consent calendar. All matters on the consent calendar are to be approved in one motion unless a council member requests a separate action on a specific item on the consent calendar. If an item is removed from the consent calendar, it'll be discussed individually and acted upon separately. Unless otherwise directed by a member of the council, the vote on the ordinance adoptions will reflect prior action of each council member when the ordinance was introduced. However, if a council member is not present at the council meeting, their vote will be reflected as absent. That being read, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on our consent calendar items?
There are none.
All right, thank you. Council members, this is an opportunity to pull any items. Do we have any we'd like to pull and be heard separately?
10.7.
Any others, council members? Can we get a motion for the balance, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a voice by Councilman Dynas and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Carwin, and then we'll cast the other 3 votes electronically. Well, I guess we're all casting them. Maybe not. So Bob cast his vote here, but it didn't make it to K. Oh, there it is. Okay, so that passes unanimously. We will take our first pulled item, which is item 10.7, the agreement with Civil Pros for design services for Bell Mountain Middle School pedestrian project. Councilmember Sobek, what's your pleasure?
Yeah, this is such an important project that I wanted to pull it to get some, just if it is for the design only, but I would like staff to be able to share what's going to be included in the changes to La Piedra Road from Menifee to Antelope. If you can share the changes that are going to take place.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Can I please have the staff report or presentation pulled? Thank you. So this is agreement, as Councilmember Sobek has mentioned, with Civil Pros. This is only for the design services for the street improvements on La Piedra. So this is the project location. It's on La Piedra from Antelope to Menifee. As shown in this slide, there's 2 schools, a library, a park, 2 pedestrian corridors, and 5 bicycle. We also analyzed how many bicycle collisions have occurred in this area. So the project proposes to construct a complete streets type of project. This is something that we're moving into. We'll be initiating a complete streets program or plan, but this is a type of complete streets project which supports multimodal transportation, whether it's vehicles, pedestrians, or bicyclists. This section of La Piedra includes several facilities, like I mentioned, MSJC, Bell Mountain Middle School, Wheatfield Park, library, a church. So there's a lot of activity within this one little corridor, whether they're walking, biking, or driving. So the project is also identified in the city's ATP, Active Transportation Plan, and the project will update ADA accessible ramps at corners. We'll install a protected crosswalk with rapid rectangular flashing beacons. We'll resurface the roadway because we'll be restriping a lot of the new travel lanes. Ultimately, what this project is kind of like a road diet, where we're taking 4 lanes and narrowing it down to 2 with a center turn lane, and then adding the bike lanes and parking on the exterior shoulders. So this is a description. You look on the left hand of the screen is the existing configuration, and on the right hand side of the screen you can see the new striping, the new pedestrian high visibility crosswalk that we're proposing, with the bike lanes and the parking still adjacent to the curb. So the city applied for and was successful in receiving an SB 821 bicycle and pedestrian facilities program. This was administered by the Riverside County Transportation Commission. It is a 50-50 match, so the grant is for $223,000, and we are contributing $223,000 as well. So that we did a request for qualifications and proposals back in January. The project will include project management, preliminary and final estimates, plan specifications and estimates, environmental analysis, and utility coordination throughout the corridor. 2 quotes were received, one from Civil Pros and one from Kimley Horn and Associates, and you can see the respective costs for both of those fees. And with that, that completes my presentation.
Thank you. So that is for design only.
That's correct.
Okay. And how long will that process take?
It's probably about a 3 to 4 month process. It's a pretty straightforward project, and then once we get the plans, the specifications, and estimates complete, then we'll go out to bid, and then it's about a 2-month process to bring back for award.
So do we have the funding for the work?
Yes, that's correct. We'd already received the grant, and the rest of the money has been programmed into the capital improvement program. Our target would be to try to construct this during the summertime.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so when school's out.
That was going to be my comment next. And so it mentions in the staff report there's going to be rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Can you explain what that is?
So that's a new technology that helps improve the visibility of crosswalks and pedestrians that are waiting to cross. We do have something that's kind of similar on Murrieta. That's, I can't remember the cross street, but it's right there at the church. And we're also installing some on Sun City and on Cherry Hills with the last pedestrian improvement project. But what it is a push button activated strobe lights, LED strobe lights that draw attention to drivers so that they can recognize that people are ready to cross the crosswalk.
So would it be like if you're crossing a crosswalk, how you push the button to go across? Is it part of that button, or is it a separate button?
It's just very similar to a traffic signal, a pedestrian push button, but instead of changing all the traffic lights because it's an uncontrolled intersection, they have the walk signs, the crosswalk signs on either side of the road. There's LED bands that are around those signs, and those signs start to flash.
Okay.
So it just really draws attention to the drivers to let them know that there are pedestrian activity in the area.
All right.
Or at the crosswalk.
Okay, and do you know how, is crosswalks planned just at Bell Mountain? Is it down by the college? Is it at the intersection of La Piedra and Menifee, and La Piedra and Antelope?
It's at Spring Creek, I think, right there at Spring Creek.
That street across the street from Bell Mountain, okay. Yeah. All right, and then you have 15 ADA ramps that need to be upscaled?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, and all right, and there's going to be bicycle lanes in both directions?
That's correct.
And then parking?
Yes, there's still parking on both sides of the street.
There'll be parking added, because right now you really can't park, right?
I believe there's parking still there, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it will be designated with the striping?
Yeah, it'll be designated, so you'll have your parking lane, and then a 6-foot wide bike lane, and then your traffic lane.
Okay.
It's similar to what's occurred on Murrieta, north of Salt Creek. There's a similar layout as that roadway.
Okay. All right. I thank you for your report. This is much needed in that area, and I know the parents will be very happy to have this completed. So looking forward to this. Okay. Go ahead.
And so before we take any other council members, I see the city manager want to chime in as well. You don't want to chime in. All right. Somehow we keep getting your name on this thing. So we'll go with Mayor Pro Tem Carwin's next.
Thank you. Since you mentioned that the rapid flash beacons, that's cross street is Murrieta and Lancaster across from the St. Vincent Church. It's funny that you mentioned that, because that one of those posts got run over by a car, and we can't get a replacement for it. It's been months and months and months.
Yeah, we've ordered a replacement similar to what's going to be installed at Cherry Hills and the new crossings at Cherry Hills. The one that on Murrieta was a very old system and a lower technology. It is outdated. We can't get the parts anymore. We actually have rebuilt that twice because the one in the median has been hit a couple times. And so we couldn't get any more parts, so we've ordered a new system that would we would kind of standardize on the same type of crossing so we have inventory of them.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to bring that up was not so much to go into the details on that, but my concern is if we're putting that system in here and something should happen to it, are we going to be able to get that replaced more rapidly than, by example, in Lancaster?
Yeah, what our goal would be is since we're going to have more of the similar of these types of installations, is to acquire replacement parts for them, because we'll have upwards to 4 or 5 locations with that same type of system, so we could have parts on standby. So when they do get hit or if they do have a failure, we have parts available.
Thank you. And then a question for our city attorney. When it comes to, do we have proper designation in place for the city engineer to sign off on these plans, or is that something that's going to have to come to city council?
I believe that the city engineer has the authority already to sign off on the plans.
So can we just make sure that there's a resolution that
will
has
do.
done that? Because I have some experience with this particular type of intersection where that was not done. It was a bad ending.
I'll absolutely confirm.
Thank you.
Councilmember Estrada's in the queue.
Hey, Director Fiddler. So I noticed we're lowering the amount of lanes from 4 to 2, and a lot of the optics is, hey, Menifee's growing. All the other projects, we're expanding the lanes from 2 to 4. Can you help me understand the rationale and how the traffic studies came into this?
So this section of La Piedra is very short. It's about a half-mile long. Typically, you know, a 4-lane facility is a much longer street. So it made sense to do it for this location because of the amount of traffic, the amount of vehicles that are on the roadway. It's also a road diet, so it helps calm traffic. It's kind of a traffic calming technique to having the narrow roadways when the volume of traffic will support it. So we analyze how many vehicle trips are on it a day. There's a standard rate per lane that you use, and it fell within that qualification. And like I said, it's a short segment, so there's not a large volume of traffic.
Thank you, Director Fiddler.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion, we approve 10.7.
Second.
Can we get a Steve Kornacki whiteboard up here to tally this instead?
Okay, we had a motion by Councilmember Sobek and a second by Councilmember Dynas. The roll call is Councilmember Dynas,
Aye.
Councilmember Estrada,
Aye.
Councilmember Sobek,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Carwin,
Aye.
and Mayor Zimmerman.
Aye, so that passes unanimously. We're going to move now to item 11. This is our first public hearing, item 11.1. It's an ordinance introducing and annexation number 17 for on-deck into the CFD 2017-1 maintenance services. Council members, do we wish to hear a staff report on this one, or can we go right to the formalities? Formalities?
Formalities.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. It is 6:35. Madam Clerk, was this public hearing legally noticed?
Yes, it was.
And do we have any public testimony or speaker slips on this item?
There are none.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, have there been any written protest received?
There are none.
All right, and are there any persons registered to vote in the territory of the district?
There are no registered voters in annexation 17.
Have the owners of all the taxable property in the district consented to holding the special election immediately following tonight's public hearing?
Yes, such a petition has been received.
And do you concur that the special election may be held tonight?
Yes, it may be.
All right, then I'm going to close the public hearing. It's 6:36, and I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt a resolution calling an election to annex territory, including parcel map 37145, located east of the I-215 freeway on the northwest corner of Highway 74 in Trumbull in the city of Menifee, Community Facilities District 2017-1 maintenance, and to levy a special tax on that land.
So moved.
Okay,
Second?
all right.
So we have a motion by
Councilman
Councilmember
Dynas.
Dynas and second by Councilmember Sobek, and I'm going to open the vote.
Excellent. That passed unanimously. Madam Clerk, have you received the official ballots and other election materials from the landowners who can cast their votes on behalf of the owners of all the property included in the territories proposed to be annexed into CFD 2017-1 maintenance?
Yes, a ballot has been received with 5 votes.
All right, so there is the canvas of the ballots. And now, council members, I'll need a motion and a second to adopt a resolution declaring the results of the special landowner election as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All right,
Again, a motion by Councilmember Dynas, a second by Councilmember Sobek, and I'm going to open the vote.
excellent.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just briefly, I think we may have skipped a step. I don't think the clerk announced the actual vote, which was, I assume, unanimous.
Okay, it was. So I'll make that announcement that last one was unanimous vote. And this one, Madam Clerk, do you want to announce this one? It's unanimous. All right.
Yes.
Let's move on. Madam Clerk, would you please introduce the ordinance by reading the title?
Yes. It's an ordinance of the City of Menifee, California, amending ordinance number 2017-231, and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2023-24 to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of streetlights, parks, parkways, streets, roads, and open space, the operation and maintenance of storm drainage system, a reserve fund for capital replacement, and administrative expenses with respect to City of Menifee Community Facilities District Number 2017-1, Maintenance Services, and its Annexation 17.
Excellent. And lastly, council members, I need a motion and a second to introduce an ordinance amending the ordinance 2017-231 and levying apportionment of the special tax in CFD 2017-1.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you.
A motion by Councilmember Dynas and a second by Councilmember Sobek. And I'll open the vote.
Can you read the vote results, please?
The vote passed unanimously.
Thank you. All right, let's move on now. That moves us to our next item, 11.2, ordinance introduction and annexation number 19. This is for Popeyes. Chicken. Into CFD 2017-1 maintenance service. Council members, do we wish to hear a staff report, or can we move to the formalities? Move ahead? All right. Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing. It's 6:40. Madam Clerk, was this public hearing legally noticed?
Yes, it was.
Do you have any public testimony or speaker slips on this item?
There are none.
Have you received any written protests on this item?
There are no protests.
Are there any persons registered to vote in the territory of the district?
No, there are no registered voters in the district.
Have the owners of all the taxable property in the district consented to holding the special election immediately following this public hearing?
Yes, such a petition was filed.
Do you concur that the special election may be held this evening?
Yes, the special election may be held.
Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:41. Council members now will need a motion and a second to adopt a resolution calling an election to annex territory, including PLN 220199, located south of Newport Road and west of Winterhawk Road, into City of Menifee CFD 2017-1 maintenance, and to levy a tax on that land. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilmember Dynas and second by Councilmember Sobek, and I'll open the vote. And the motion passed unanimously.
Perfect. Madam Clerk, have you received the official ballots and other election materials from the landowners who can cast their votes on behalf of the owners of all the property included in the territories proposed to be annexed into CFD 2017-1 maintenance?
Yes, one ballot was received with one vote, and it was a yes vote.
Okay, there's the election result as affirmative. Now I'll need a motion to adopt the resolution declaring the results of the special landowner election as presented. Councilman Dynas?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Oops.
Whoa, this just in. Mixing it up.
So we have a motion by Councilmember Dynas and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Carwin, and I'll open the vote. And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do you mind reading the title of the ordinance, please?
It's an ordinance of the City of Menifee, California, amending ordinance number 2017-231 and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2023-24 to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of streetlights, parks, parkways, streets, roads, and open space, the operation and maintenance of storm drainage systems, a reserve fund for capital replacement, and administrative expenses with respect to the City of Menifee Community Facilities District 2017-1 maintenance services and its annexation 19.
All right, thank you. And lastly, I'll need a motion to introduce an ordinance amending the ordinance 2017-231 and levying and apportioning the special tax in CFD 2017-1.
So moved.
Second. Had to attach my name to the Popeyes vote somehow.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Dynas and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Carwin, and the vote is open. And now closed, and the vote is unanimous.
All right, thank you very much. We're able now to move on to our discussion items. Item 12, the first one is 12.1, the 2022 City of Menifee Local Hazard Mitigation Plan. And I see Ms. Barrera is on her way to the podium, so welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Vanessa Barrera, and I serve as the city's Emergency Management Analyst in the Human Resources Department. Within emergency management, we have multiple plans that also includes the Emergency Operations Plan, the Shelter Plan, and many more. Today, I will be discussing and providing an overview for your consideration regarding the 2022 City of Menifee Local Hazard Mitigation Plan, also known as the LHMP. To provide some background, the city's last update was done in 2015. Given this, the city began updating its plan in 2021, and given its lengthy process, it carried over to 2022. The purpose of this plan is to increase awareness within the City of Menifee when it comes to hazards, as well as identify ways to reduce risks in order to keep the community safe. To accomplish this, the city identified key staff from the departments and created a hazard mitigation planning committee. Through the committee, a risk assessment was conducted, and although there were 27 hazards, the city focused on the following: flooding, earthquake, wildfire, urban fire, power outage, and transportation. The city obtained the probability data from Riverside County and rated each occurrence level from 0 to 4. Once the plan was drafted, the city requested input from the public, stakeholders, neighboring cities, and partnering agencies. The city had a press release where we opened up the input period for 30 days. Additionally, the city had added the topic to the Southwest meeting. This is a meeting that consists of multiple cities within Riverside County. The city also added our LHMP topic to our community emergency response team, and the city has a reoccurring meeting where we invite our volunteers to provide input, so we did that. And finally, the city held a emergency preparedness workshop where we had a booth, we discussed the different topics of the plan, and welcomed feedback. Once the city received all the feedback, the city submitted the plan to the county. There was an extensive review through the county, and finally we received approval. Following the county, we submitted to the state, and again, they reviewed the plan and they approved the plan. And then we took it to the federal government, who also reviewed the plan. And through this, they let us know that the plan was in compliance with all requirements, beginning December of 2022. Therefore, the approval of this plan will allow us to apply for mitigation grants. The city will review the plan and continue to update as needed, and the formal update will be done in 5 years. This is a living document, and we welcome all comments, suggestions, and feedback as we continue through the update process. Thank you for your time. Staff is available to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Barrera. Council members, do we have any questions at this time? Mayor Pro Tem Carwin's in the queue.
Thank you. With regard to the mitigation plan itself, the attached document there, it's a 45-page document. There's two things I just want to point out. On page 10 of the document, section 2.8, it outlines our type of government. And in the document, it says, with a mayor elected at large for a 2-year term. Can we get that fixed?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other one was a technical question, which is on pages 42 to 44. The mitigation projects list. And then specifically, which items was it? Section 6.2. So we're talking in that final column, which talks about resources and funding required to complete. When we're talking about staffing needs, some of them say adequate staffing unknown, some of them say adequate staffing is needed. For example, it's the Action S27 and Action Action S27 and Action S36. They're on top of each other. One of them says adequate staffing to prepare materials / funding unknown at this time. And then the one directly under it says adequate staffing is needed. What's the difference between completely unknown and then just needed? Aren't they the same thing?
Yes. So with regards to those, some of the projects, we need an approved plan to be able to apply for mitigation grants. So doing that process will allow us to reach out and use those funds for a consultant, for example, to be able to dive into the projects itself. We do have, on the second column before, we did add what we're currently doing. However, as you all know, it does take a lot of time to be able to dive into it. Some of the projects do, we need to dive in a little bit more, and that's the reason why we have this reoccurring plan to be able to build to it as we go.
I'm not sure that answered my question. What's the difference between staffing unknown and staffing just needed? Does that mean that unknown means we might be fine?
Unknown will be...
Seems like needed is also unknown. We don't know how much we need.
I think there's a verbiage there change that we can do, but what we're trying to do is seek out for grants to be able to adequately address that concern.
Yeah, I get why there's not a number in there. I was just curious because they're right next to each other. I was curious if they meant different things.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, Honorable Mayor, City Council staff. My name is Robert Cardenas. I serve as the Deputy Human Resources Director, and part of my responsibilities to oversee emergency management as well. I think it's just simply that. I think it's just a play on words. When we're working through this process, we're working with the different constituents within the city, and we rely on those constituents to kind of place where they think it is, and sometimes we leave the language as submitted. But for clarity, we can clean that up.
Okay, thank you. I was just making sure that because in government, a lot of time the word means a whole lot, even though they're similar. So I was making sure that I wasn't missing something on what we're saying there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council members? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
There are none.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up. Council members, any discussion? Or if there's none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the local hazard mitigation plan. Councilmember Sobek's in the queue.
So I just want to say that I appreciate the work that's gone into this. It just seems like that, emergency response, emergency preparedness is probably one of the low-hanging fruits on the always. But yet when you need it, there needs to be something in place. And I just hope that we will, as a city, do what we need to do to be prepared in case of any kind of emergency or disaster. And I appreciate the work that's been done on this. The one thing that I see that can come out of this is it will help us become one of the safest cities in California, if not beyond. And so I appreciate the work that's gone into this, so thank you. I will. I'll make a motion that we approved 12.1.
I'll give you a second on that, and I will echo those comments. I read this report. There was a lot of information there, and it was well done. So thank you for your good efforts.
There's a motion by Councilmember Sobek and a second by Mayor Zimmerman. And I'll open the vote. And the vote is unanimous.
All right, thank you. That passes, and so we are now moving to our next discussion item. In fact, the next two are related to the same topic, our strategic plan. The first one, item 12.2, is a receive and file. It's an update from our most recent workshop of what we saw, and then when we're done with that, we will move to the next one, which is actual adoption. So I see Ms. Kramer's at the podium, so I'll let you take it from here.
Excellent. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, and members of the public that are here tonight. I have the honor of presenting a body of work that's 5 years in the making tonight with our update of our current strategic plan that was first adopted in 2018 and will come to a close at the end of this fiscal year. We'll be providing you with a progress report on our implementation efforts of that plan. Additionally, I have the pleasure of introducing tonight the city's next 5-year strategic plan, which will extend from July of this year through June 2028, and you'll be considering that for adoption this evening. So as you know from our multitude of workshops and discussions on this topic, the strategic plan does establish the city's vision for the future and sets our roadmap for meeting current and future needs. What's important about that is it helps us as an organization to ensure that everyone understands what the city's priorities are and are able to work together to achieve a common set of goals. The city's existing strategic plan set 4 strategic priorities. Those encompassed are building a safe and attractive community, developing a livable and economically prosperous community, creating a responsive and transparent community government, and finally establishing an accessible and interconnected community. To date, we have completed 74% of the 196 implementation plan tasks that are on that list. This includes 74 items that have been added to that list since the plan was first adopted. So that's a significant number of items that have been integrated over that 5-year period. We anticipate that by the end of July of this year, we will have completed 85% of those projects that are on the list, and the remaining items will carry forward into our next 5-year planning period and have been integrated into our new plan to some degree. So tonight, as I'd mentioned, we are going to be highlighting some of the projects that have been completed during this 5-year period, as well as some of those projects that we have in progress or that we'll be carrying forward. And then you do have, as part of your agenda packet, a comprehensive list of all those implementation plan tasks. We'd be here for an extensive period of time if we touched base on all of them, but we wanted to make sure that you had access to that to review. That does highlight those 19 items that have been completed since we last provided a comprehensive update in May of 2022. The 21 items that we anticipate will be completed by the end of July of this year, and then the remaining items that are shaded in gray on that list will be carrying forward into our next planning period. So within our public safety arena, we accomplished a broad range of items. This includes completing a comprehensive public safety assessment, and following that, the establishment of our Menifee Police Department in July of 2020, which was an enormous undertaking, and I think has been a tremendous asset to this city since its establishment. Since inception, the police department has assumed responsibility for our code enforcement division and implemented a wide range of programs and ordinance updates, including but certainly not limited to our nuisance abatement and weed abatement, as well as abandoned vehicle abatement programs, along with, since our last update, the illegal dumping enforcement program has been put into place. The department has also established a Menifee Homeless Task Force as part of their broader homeless program response plan. And then within fire and emergency services, during this report period, we had our fire ladder truck that was put into service in August of 2021, as well as our new fire paramedic unit, which was activated in September of last year and is now operating out of Fire Station 7. So all big accomplishments. Some items that we have currently underway include review of a number of ordinances that include, and we anticipate these will be completed by the end of the fiscal year, this review. That's the graffiti and weed abatement ordinances, massage business, noise and quiet zones, as well as foreclosed property and registration. And then additionally, staff are engaged in an evaluation of our commercial truck routes in keeping with our general plan circulation element. Once that review is completed, they will be preparing an ordinance for your consideration in adopting or establishing commercial truck routes throughout the city. Simultaneously, our police department is also working on training staff and acquiring the equipment that will be needed to integrate our truck route enforcement program as part of the broader traffic and traffic enforcement efforts that we have. The creation of our disaster recovery and safety master plan was added to the list last May, and while we have certainly completed some elements of that plan, achieving our broader goal of becoming one of the nation's safest cities is going to require that we develop a comprehensive plan that covers all aspects of public safety, and it's for these reasons and understanding that it's going to be a multi-year effort to put these pieces in place that we've put this as a core element in our next 5-year strategic plan. Staff have also been working to develop a fire strategic plan that will establish our long-term strategy for fire services. Phase 1 of that plan will be scheduled for completion by the end of this fiscal year, and additional phases of that plan will be integrated within our broader comprehensive safety master plan. Once completed, that plan will help drive and guide the distribution of our fire stations, personnel, and equipment. Within land use, we've had a broad range of things that we've accomplished during this 5-year period, particularly in relation to our community and economic development initiatives. We've completed our comprehensive economic development strategy, as well as our foreign direct investment strategy. And our economic development team anticipates having our foreign affairs program up and operational by the end of this fiscal year. Once established, that program will help to not only encourage foreign investment for the diversification of revenue and support of our economy overall, it will assist our local businesses in navigating the complexities of exporting goods so that they can operate operate on a global basis if they are interested in doing so. Our Explore Menifee campaign has been launched in support of our tourism industry. As part of that program, the economic development team will be releasing a social media content, videos, and a visitor's guide, which is scheduled to occur this spring. And then notably, we also completed during most recently the development impact fee update, as well as a comprehensive development code update. All of these are multi-year efforts that are really foundational elements for the city to build both a strong economy, but also to provide the resources that are necessary to support the city's infrastructure and essential services. We have had in the last year 2 council ad hoc subcommittees have been established to address some of the regional issues that are impacting the city. That includes our Sphere of Influence Committee, which has been tasked with working with, in collaboration with the county and our Winchester Municipal Advisory Committee, commonly referred to as the MAC, and other regional partners to identify ways that we can address the impacts of growth and development in our unincorporated areas. And then we also have our Parks Committee that's been tasked with working with our city staff as well as our Valleywide Parks District to find ways to better serve the needs of Menifee residents as they relate to parks and recreational facilities. This committee will also be working to gain a greater understanding of the issues associated with any potential detachment process that we might consider. So with those foundational elements in place, these efforts are going to be carrying forward into our next 5-year planning period and have been integrated into our new strategic plan. We also have our Parks Master Plan that is underway. That's been an enormous effort by our Parks and Recreation team involving a lot of community outreach. That's scheduled for completion this spring, and that plan will help to guide the placement of parks, trails, and cultural and recreational facilities throughout the city. So that will be a significant achievement for us to have and a really great resource as we look at planning those facility development. With respect to facilities, some of this you heard, of course, with your update on our CIP and a budget update earlier today, but we've had a range of facility projects designed to better serve our community. That includes the replacement of our Fire Station 5 in the Quail Valley area, which is scheduled for completion either at the end of this year or the first part of next calendar year. And then we also completed in August of last year assessments of our current and future operational space needs for City Hall, our police station, and Public Works Maintenance Operations Center. Those will be really helpful as we look at what it is that we need to have in place to support city services in the long term. The city has made significant investments during the course of the last 5 years in IT systems assessments as well as equipment upgrades that are designed both to improve efficiency as well as address cybersecurity issues and the like to make sure that we can continue to provide services to our community. Some of these efforts have included the city's information technology strategic plan, which has been completed, and the team is working to implement those components. And then they are also working on the disaster recovery and business continuity plan, which is scheduled for completion by the end of this fiscal year. During the course of this 5-year period, the city's made significant investments in our transportation infrastructure. About 86% of our capital budget has been dedicated to transportation-related projects. And just a couple to highlight, these certainly are not all of the projects we've done. You see your 5-year capital list is extensive, but during this period we did have our pavement management program update was completed. We had the Scott Road Interstate 215 interchange improvements. In progress we have, of course, the Holland Road overpass, Bradley Bridge over Salt Creek project, and the evaluation of our streetlights in the rural areas, which is beginning with phase 1 of that effort in our Quail Valley area. So with respect to streetscape beautification, so as part of our Welcome Map program, staff have continued to seek grant opportunities that will help provide for enhanced landscaping and site improvements around all of our freeway interchanges. And this effort will, without question, carry forward into our next 5-year planning period. This is a core element built within the new plan that establishes street beautification as a core component of all of our major roadway improvement projects around the city's main transit corridors as well as our gateways. And then the citywide signage and wayfinding program is also in progress and nearing completion. We have our completion of the specific plan for the southwest our southern gateway will continue into our next 5-year planning period, and you'll see that in our new plan. And then our Smart Cities and Broadband Master Plan is well underway and will be completed by the end of this fiscal year. That plan will help us to guide or demonstrate that our community can support service expansion. So that will be an important document for us to have in place. With respect to community outreach, a lot of work has been done on this front. The city has established our communications division, and as that division has taken on a wide range of public education and outreach efforts, both electronic and print publications, as well as increasing the city's social media presence. And we have added in regular chat with the city manager town hall meetings as part of that effort. The city's website has been enhanced significantly during the course of this 5-year period to provide greater public access to information. This includes our online records lookup system, the establishment of the online permitting portal, and Menifee Open, which provides residents with access to the city's financial and strategic planning performance so that they can access that information as they if they're interested. Our GIS team has worked very diligently to develop a broad range of interactive maps that are also available to the public through our website. And then we are adding in, to provide another way to share information, we will be launching Menifee TV, which is the city's public educational and governmental cable channel, commonly referred to as PEG. That program right now is in a testing phase, so we have done essentially a soft launch, so we're testing that, and within the next few weeks we will be formally launching that to the public. And that information is going to be available through the city's website. You will be able to access the Menifee TV programming, as well as on Frontier and Spectrum cable channel networks. Citizens will be able to access that. For those that have Mediacom, staff are continuing to work with Mediacom to make sure that Menifee TV is added to their channel lineup as well. To expand access, the city has entered into a joint use agreement with Mount San Jacinto Community College to share PEG channel programming as one of our efforts, and we are also working on establishing another agreement with MSJC that will provide for the joint use of facilities for community events and programming. So that will be an important item coming to you by the end of this fiscal year as well. So last but not least, in terms of updates, our workforce is a critical part of our ability to provide municipal services. To keep pace with our population growth and continue to enhance service to the community, as an organization, the city has significantly increased the number of personnel serving the community in all departments since 2018. To attract and retain our skilled workforce that's needed to serve our public, we've implemented a number of professional development programs. That includes our Leadership Academy, which is part of our Menifee University program, which launched last spring. And then we have underway our classification and compensation study, as well as an employee survey, which are scheduled for completion by the end of this fiscal year. So that concludes the overview of programs that have been implemented during the course of this 5-year period. Before we move into talking about our next 5-year plan, I would certainly welcome any questions that you may have on the implementation plan list, and I know that we have our executive team that are available to address questions as well.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kramer. I do see Mayor Pro Tem Carwin in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With regard to the signage and wayfinding program, I'm going to use a specific example here and ask if it applies. If you're going east on Newport, you go across the freeway, across Antelope, right before you enter into Menifee Lakes community, there's a signpost there. There's a pedestal sign that says Menifee Lakes, a community of Menifee, but it's missing a bunch of letters. And it's in disrepair. And I was wondering if that's something that's going to be, we're waiting to change it out, or if we're going to be fixing it. What's the plan for pedestal signs like that?
Yes, Councilman Carr, I can address that question. I think that we found out that that specific sign was hit by a car and it was part of an accident, so we became aware about that disrepair about a couple of weeks ago. So we're intending to fix it. But the intent of this is we brought a proposal to the council and I think we presented it to the council about 2 times now. So we're going to change the way all the signs, the wayfinding signs look. And it is our intent to bring back, and I'm going to look at Gina over here because we're very close to bringing the final product to the council. And the intent of it is to be able to standardize all the signage citywide so that we can improve the look and then create signage that's going to last a little bit longer than, withstand the test of time, so to speak. But we are aware of that sign, and we're going to go make repairs.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Ms. Kramer, maybe you can just give us an update, because you mentioned earlier that 75% of the tasks have been done. And if most of us council members, those tasks, if we can remember, we're kind of on a list and it either said they're completed or ongoing. So if there's still 25% of those, what's your plan for bringing those back so that we can make sure that nothing just vaporizes something that has been given direction at one time and is on the list and we've been anticipating it? And since we're closing it out here, I just want to make sure that there's a place in your mind where it's going to come to us again, maybe as a refined list or something like that. What's the plan?
Great question, Mayor. Thank you for that. So any items that are going to carry forward, so those items that have not been completed will carry forward into our next 5-year planning period. We will be, once you approve the next 5-year plan, we'll be establishing an implementation plan that we'll be presenting and providing regular updates to you. That'll be integrated as part of our operational budget and CIP planning budget process, so that those two pieces are very closely connected and providing regular updates just as we do now. So nothing will be forgotten. We will make sure that we're finishing out those projects that we have committed to by the end of this fiscal year, and those that aren't finished will carry forward through the new 5-year planning period.
Well, that's good to hear. Thank you. And I would hope that we could distill it down to some more deliverable things, like this is something we're going to do and complete, a tangible thing. I noticed in the previous list there were things like improved communication. Well, how do you measure that? You know what I mean? How do you say, look, so I want us to be able to maybe have a more tangible list, I guess, is what I hope that's what the next one is. All right, Councilmember Sobek.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Kramer, for this report. It's nice to look back 5 years ago when this list was started, but my question is, I know that the mayor mentioned 75% is done, and it's going to be 85% by the time we get to the end of this fiscal year. But we have to remember, and maybe you can clarify this, the original list over the last 5 years had, as new council members came on, many new things were added to this list. So I don't believe that percentage is a true percentage. I believe it would be much higher if there had not have been many items added to the original list. It is a living document, so we do add, but I believe, so maybe you can just answer that question.
Great question, and yes, you are correct. 74 items were added to the list during our planning period. That's a significant number, and that is the reason that we aren't able to finish all the projects, especially the ones that were more recently added to our project list that we'll be carrying forward, and then some of our longer-term efforts. So the majority of those items that were initially added, with a few exceptions of some of our longer-term projects that are capital projects, have been completed. So,
Wow, 74
yes.
were added to the 5-year capital improvement program. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions, council members? Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
There are none.
All right, and council members, we can discuss more, or I just wanted to check, this is a receive and file item, so do we need a motion to do so? We can just, when we're done, we're done? Okay, Councilmember Sobek.
Yeah, you know, I want to make sure I make a comment. Maybe it's not so much to, well, I do want to thank my colleagues, past and present, for this document and working together to have a plan that we could present to staff, our city manager, his managers, and all the other staff members, that we had a focus. And because we had a focus, I see that our staff got a lot done in these last 5 years, which one I'm very proud of, is that we created during the pandemic, during the unrest that was going on in our country, we opened up a police department July 1st, 2019. And that is because of you out there, the staff taking our vision and implementing it. And I'm grateful for the leadership that has a vision, that we can set goals and then you make it happen. And I just want to thank all of you who have done anything in these last 5 years, including my council colleagues, who we are able to work together and have a vision for the city of Menifee, that it is a safe, thriving, premier place to live and work. Thank you.
Sounded like a campaign speech. All right. Do you have was that a motion? It was just very fruitful. It was good.
It was from my heart.
Yes, I liked it. Yeah, we're not voting, so. All right, next, this is the same item. This is adoption of the strategic plan, so. I think,
Yeah.
are you staying with us?
I am
Ms. Kramer?
lucky you get
All
stuck
right.
with me for another presentation. If I could have our IT team pull back up the same presentation we were using, and we'll carry forward. All right, so tonight you're going to be considering for adoption the city's next 5-year strategic plan, which will extend again from July of this year through June 2028. As mentioned earlier, the strategic plan establishes a shared vision for our future and helps to ensure that everyone in the organization is focusing their energy on the same goals and objectives. So it's a very important planning document for us as an organization. The 5-year timeline allows for the sequencing of initiatives in alignment with our annual operating and capital budget process, which helps to create a clear connection between the city's finances and our operations, which is very important for us as an organization. So this plan was developed over an extensive period of time involving input from a broad range of people, and I think it's important to highlight what's gone into creating what it is that you're going to be adopting here this evening. Plan establishes a shared set of goals that are a result of the combined efforts of our city's residents, stakeholders, employees, and you as our elected leaders who have all participated in this development process, which began last August. Plan development included our environmental scan, both of our internal and external forces that were impacting the city. And we, during this period, conducted 20 stakeholder interviews, 5 community forums, 7 focus groups, 2 council workshops, and then had community and employee surveys that were also conducted. There has been extensive outreach that's been conducted throughout the plan development process that includes over 2,000 direct email participant communications, 1,200 interactions through the city's social pinpoint page that was posted on our website. We had information that was shared through our Menifee Matters magazine, distributed to close to 39,000 homes and businesses, and then information shared at community events throughout this planning period. As part of our social media campaign, we had 27 posts with information about our strategic planning process, inviting people to participate in the survey, as well as attend our in-person and virtual community forums and council workshops, resulting in well over 68,000 social media engagements with the public or interactions during this planning period. I think it's important to note that this plan embodies those top issues that were consistently advised or input that we received from the public throughout this process in our community forums, the surveys. We were consistently hearing an interest and desire for us as an organization to focus on public safety, ease of getting around town and traffic-related concerns, range of shopping and dining options, condition of our sidewalks and streets, local cultural and entertainment options, local businesses and jobs, and recreational facilities and programming. So the plan that is presented for you for adoption tonight was developed based upon all of that information that we gathered and shared and discussed as part of our council workshop on January 10th. You had a 4-hour workshop. This was followed by the review of the draft plan on February 15th, and we included, of course, refinements to our city's mission statement as well as our vision statement. The city's mission statement was restructured and enhanced to include transparency as an essential element in fulfilling the city's purpose. And I just have to read because I think it really embodies where this council believes that you want to go in terms of your mission statement, which defines the city's aspirations for the future. You've established your vision statement to read as Menifee is a premier, safe, thriving, and inclusive city that offers vibrant neighborhoods and panoramic scenic vistas with a rich history, flourishing arts, cultural amenities, and diverse recreation opportunities that make Menifee a desired place to live, work, play, and stay. Our guiding principles that are incorporated within the plan will represent the expectations for how the city will conduct our business, make decisions, and deliver programs and services to the community. That includes being people-focused and connected, accountable and fiscally responsible, responsive and transparent, and solution-oriented and proactive. The strategic priorities that are encompassed within the plan establish those areas that are most important in terms of focus for our organization during this 5-year planning period. Those include developing or establishing a unique identity, creating opportunities for community engagement and social infrastructure, building a thriving economy, developing a safe and vibrant community, and enhancing connectivity and mobility to meet the city's needs. The objectives that are outlined in the plan are designed to support this vision and fulfill our strategic priorities and goals. And then, of course, we've established, as the mayor mentioned, the importance of having performance measures that are time-bound to monitor our progress, which have been incorporated as core elements within the plan. Some of the refinements that have been made to the plan since the February 15th workshop based on your feedback encompassed a number of things specific to objectives and performance measures. Those were shown in your agenda packet, attachment 1 by red line, so that you can see exactly what changes were made. Just broadly speaking, that included the development of both cultural and recreational facilities in alignment with our Parks Master Plan. A focus on targeted industries in association with the creation of an incentive program to fast-track the development process, collaboration with the city's community partners with the development of our safety master plan, inclusion of both our gateways and transit corridors and the beautification of our streetscapes, and then finally clarification on the city's pavement condition index that it will be maintained at an average reading of 70 through June 2028. So with that, that wraps up our overview of the plan that's presented for adoption this evening. As I'd mentioned earlier, as a next step, staff will be working to develop an implementation action plan that will be integrated with our operating and capital improvement program budgets. So I'd welcome any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you very much. I do have a question in the queue from Councilmember Sobek.
Thank you, Mayor. Could you go back to the strategic priorities page on your presentation?
If I could have IT bring that back up.
Thank
Okay,
you. So are these in any particular order from 1 to 5 being most important, least important?
They are not.
Thank you for that. On connectivity and mobility, that was the loudest item we heard from our residents. I'm just wondering if it might be possible to move that to the top, just because we want our residents to know we heard them. And I don't know if it makes a difference with my colleagues, but I do know that was a very important item that we heard over and over and over, was our roads, our streets, traffic, et cetera. And I didn't want anybody to look at this list and think it was the least. So.
Council members, do we all agree to move that up?
Okay.
I think it should be 1 or 2. Unique identity is important. That's the final destination. So 1 or 2 up there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
We can definitely do that. Thank you.
Any other questions, council members? Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
There are none.
All right, council members, it's open for discussion. Any additional comments, praise, criticisms, whatever we got? Councilmember Estrada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Looking at the unique identity portion, performance measures, the way we measure that, we have 3 ways we measure it, but nowhere on there does it look for community input or input from the residents. How do the residents feel? What do you think your unique identity is? And I think we should have an outlet for the residents to express how they view themselves.
Thank you for that, council member. And we agree with you. There are a couple of things that we've integrated within the plan, not specific to that area, but one is a community survey process. And you'll see that we've got a couple of assessments that are part of that development of a unique identity. That will involve the community heavily as we work on assessing what is available and what our community's interest is. So we'll make sure that that's a core element and build that in and provide regular updates.
Okay, so if I can, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the City of Menifee's 2023 through 2028 strategic plan.
I'll second that.
Okay.
A motion by Mayor Zimmerman and a second by Councilmember Sobek to adopt the plan. And the vote is open. And it's the unanimous vote.
All right, very good. Thank you, Ms. Kramer. You
Thank
did
you.
a great job, and good job to everybody. I know it's a team task. All right, yeah. Now we know what we're doing for the next 5 years, right? All right, item 13, City Attorney reports. Do you have anything for us?
Not this evening, Mayor.
And Mr. City Manager, do you have any reports or updates?
No reports,
All right, council members, do we have any future requests? Item 15.
Yes, I have a future request for to have Darcy Burke come and include Jeff Armstrong, our representative from Eastern Municipal Water District, and give us an update on water.
I'll second that.
All right, and then Councilman Carwin, did you have one?
Yeah, I'd like to make a future agenda item of the establishment of training an existing staff member to serve as what I'm going to call a resident benefits liaison. There used to be a guy on TV named Matthew Lesko who dressed in a suit full of question marks, and he had a big book on federal grants, free money for you if you can get it, entrepreneurs and things like that. There's all kinds of programs through the city the county, the state, and the federal that our residents could take advantage of. And there's nobody at the city who knows about them. And if I know that we have Aisha Jemmett Wilson, who works out of Quezoniceros, who's up to speed on programs for seniors, but there's programs that aren't limited to seniors. And having a one-stop shop here at the city for somebody to be able to say, here's where you find this stuff, and instead of having the residents comb through the federal, state, county, and city guides, it'd be nice if we could just have one person who can serve as kind of a tour guide for that and let them know what programs might be available, or at least where to look. And wouldn't cost us anything. I'm not talking about creating those programs. I was talking about somebody to go out and be educated on it, to be a point person for the citizens.
So, Mr. City Manager, is this something that we can have staff take a look at, or do we need an agenda item to have a discussion about whether or not we should explore what Councilman Carwin's?
I think that we can bring back a report to show the things that we are already doing, and maybe that would satisfy. And then if that doesn't get to where you want it to go, maybe we can get more direction from council to do.
I'm fine with that, a report on, if we're already doing it, that's great. I'd just like to make sure it's all in one place so the citizens know who to call.
We can do that.
Great.
Awesome.
Can I get a second on it, or?
I will. I'll
All right.
second it.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no others, we're going to go ahead and adjourn. Earlier, it was mentioned Ted Hoffman from the city of Norco had passed away. He's one of our colleagues, and I think he sat on various boards with lots of us. He sat next to me on RCTC board. Great man, and sadly, he passed away in his sleep last week, and he's going to be greatly missed. So if we can adjourn in his memory and honor. All right, thank you. So we are adjourned. It is 7:32.